The following program contains explicit candor. If you suffer from self-deception, Randall may not be right for you. Check with your political advisor.
Standing for truth in the four corners of America. Fighting for justice on the frontiers of the culture wars. And turning resistance into an art form. The only TV host arrested more times than Mahatma Gandhi, Randall Terry.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the #1 Tea Party television show in the entire United States. It is I, your servant Randall. We embark today on a special series on platform and principles. I have been invited to participate in a presidential debate in Southern Illinois, in a tri-state area, and my campaign manager from the University of Illinois, Southern Illinois, sent me a questionnaire with 30 questions, basically saying, hey, Mr. Terry, what's your platform? I thought, you know what? Let's talk about some of these issues on the air. Let's help the Tea Party clarify some things so that we're not all over the place, ideologically, philosophically. We're gonna have a good time. And I believe, with all my heart, not only will you enjoy it, but you're gonna learn some things. Today's program brought to you in part by Karl Marx. In life, he was an atheist, but now he's on fire for God. And by Friedrich Nietzsche. He said, God is dead. And then one fine morning, he woke up in hell. I'll be right back after a quick word from my friend, Rusty Cowpoke.
Hey there, friends. I'm missing my lucky hat today, so sorry about that, but let me tell you this. Mr. Obama, you want to get it straight about what you think about the Palestinians? Do you want them to be a state or not? First you tell them you don't want them to be a state, and then you say, well, I actually do. Get it right. Which is it? You can't be talking out of both sides of your pretty little mouth there, Mr. Obama. And plus, you're making me look embarrassed, and I don't much like that. Seems to me you're a little bit scared, Mr. Obama. It seems to me you got less testosterone than my steers have been castrated. Hey, you stand up and you tell us where you at. You just in a little love affair with them Muslims?
Welcome to the program, friend. First, I apologize for my appearance. I'm here in the North Country clearing my head, and we thought we've got to do some shows dealing with the platform. As I mentioned early on in the program, we are running for president. I'm running for president, and we have a campaign manager in the University of Southern Illinois, and he sent me a list of questions. And I thought, you know what? These questions are good, and it would make darn good television. Before I start answering them, a couple of preliminary remarks. First, this is about political policy, all right? I'm not going to quote platitudes. I'm not going to play games. I'm not going to mince words, and I'm not going to say phrases that are designed to seduce people and get their vote. Because while I am running as a Democrat in the Democratic primary against President Obama, clearly I can't win. I'm not delusional. He has a massive bank account, and I'm like a flea on the back of an elephant, except that the principles that I hold to and that I will discuss in this election are principles, please God, that are based upon eternal truth. In other words, there are some positions that somebody can have that are right, and there are some that are wrong. There are some that are righteous. There are some that are unrighteous. What I will delineate for you, most of which is in direct opposition to President Obama's positions, most of what I will, or rather hopefully all that I will delineate for you, is what is right and true and just. And principles and positions demand policy, all right? It's not enough to say, I'm pro-life, or I believe in traditional marriage, or I don't think that homosexuals should serve openly in the military. There has to be a corresponding policy or a law that echoes that principle in the affairs of men. Second, we don't live in a vacuum. Everybody gets their political theory from someone, okay? Maybe it's Karl Marx, maybe it's John Locke, maybe it's Hobbes or Nietzsche, Lenin. I own where I get mine from, okay? My foreign policy is based on the Augustinian theory of just war, St. Augustine. And I say now, before God and men, that the two greatest lawgivers in the history of the human race, who always got it right, were Moses and Christ. And it is the duty of men and governments to have civil law, as much as possible, reflect the divine law. Now, having said that, it's critical to remember that all crimes, true crimes, are sin, but not all sins are crimes. So I think that you're going to find some of my answers a little bit jolting at first, because while I believe that certain behavior is wrong, it may not be the place of civil government to pass legislation regarding a certain behavior. So, with that caveat, let's begin. I've got the questions that he asked me. Here's question 1. And by the way, I had to give him one of 5. Strongly oppose, indifferent, don't care. I didn't have many of those. Favor or strongly favor. So here is plank number 1. And Gary, we want to do about 6 minutes in this segment, okay? Plank number 1. Immediate withdrawal of U.S. troops from Iraq and Afghanistan. I put down favor. And I also discussed the fact that we need to do, in a situation like this, where there was terrorist attacks or perhaps connection to weapons of mass destruction that would be used in a terrorist attack, that our goal has to be wars of retribution, not nation building. And there's a very distinct difference. I think that we're going to look back, and these experiments in Iraq and in Afghanistan, they're going to have cost us an enormous amount of blood and treasure, and what we hoped to set out to do is simply not going to be sustainable. And the reason is because both Iraq and Afghanistan have a history with Islamic philosophy and Sharia law. That means that they think about having a caliph. Look at the Middle East. Look at Islamic nations. Almost all of them have dictators or strongmen, right? Mubarak, Gaddafi, al-Hassan, Saddam Hussein. Why? Because the caliph was the supreme military, political, and religious leader. He was a dictator. And that is what Islamic philosophy leans towards, because that's not only its philosophy, but it's its history. So for us to go into Afghanistan or into Iraq and think that we could transpose a form of government whose roots are in Judeo-Christian principles, okay? Self-government, the right to criticize your leaders, that there is a God in heaven who gave us rules and also called for representative government in the books of Moses in the Bible. To think that we could impose that on an Islamic culture was foolishness from the start. In situations like this, especially with a culture that is diametrically opposed to ours and that doesn't share a philosophical root system, we go in for a war of retribution, kill as many leaders as quickly as possible, and get out. And then look at the survivors and say, if you do this again, we'll be back. Wars of retribution. They knew how to find Saddam Hussein. They knew how to kill him. All right? They knew how to get the leadership of the Taliban, the leadership in Afghanistan, just like they knew where to find Libya's Gaddafi. Okay? This experiment was a tragedy. And I'll say one other thing. We wasted our silver bullet on the wrong I country. The threat to us was never Iraq, it was Iran, and it still is Iran. A nuclear-armed Iran is a threat to the United States and her allies. So If we continue down this path that we're on, where we allow Iran to obtain nuclear weaponry and the delivery systems that they can use to deliver them to Israel or to Saudi Arabia or who knows where, we will look back with grave regrets on the time, the money, and the lives that we spent in Afghanistan and Iraq while we allowed Iran to build a nuclear arsenal. All right, I've got to take a break. When we come back, amnesty for illegal immigrants, undocumented is what they say. How about support for the United Nations? Government mandated universal health care. I'll answer these questions and hopefully provide you with some fodder that you can use as you debate these things with your friends and your family. Political Activist Training 101 right here on the nation's biggest and best Tea Party television show, Randall Terry. I'll be right back.
No, Randall wasn't at the Battle of the Alamo, and you wouldn't have been either if you were that sick.
Hi, Joe Costello here, founder of Kylea Health and Energy. I've been making superb nutritional supplements for over 15 years, and from day one, I've partnered with Randall Terry, helping to fund his invaluable work in reclaiming our country's biblical and godly roots. I want to share with you a product that has changed hundreds of thousands of lives since its inception.
Introducing the Total Living Drinks, Greens and Berry, the ultimate superfood formulas that provide you the 9 essential areas of nutrition your body needs on a daily basis. Each serving of the Total Living Drink provides the life-giving phytonutrients that come from the equivalent of 5 servings of organic vegetables and berries, enzymes for better digestion and nutrient absorption, protein for building lean muscle mass so you can burn more fat for fuel, probiotics for better intestinal function, herbs for building energy and stamina, antioxidants for maximum immune function and disease prevention, and all the vitamins and minerals you need for slowing down aging and maximum health. You would have to take 30 to 40 capsules each day and spend almost $10 a day to match the over 30,000 milligrams of total nutrition in each scoop of the Total Living Drink. Order right now and get started on the amazing Total Living Drink. They come in 2 delicious flavors, Total Living Drink Greens and Total Living Drink Berry. And every single dollar we receive, we give a generous amount to Randall Terry's organization to help further his work and further the kingdom. Visit us online at the address on your screen and receive an online discount or call the toll-free number. Call today, and for the daily price of a latte, you can get back on the road to better health and energy with Kylea's Total Living Drink.
Moments with Moses. And if by this discipline you are not turned to me, but walk contrary to me, then I will walk contrary to you, and I myself will smite you sevenfold for your sins.
Welcome back to the program, friend. I admit it, I look a little shaggy, but you'll get more content out of this shaggy dog than you will out of those well-dressed, well-groomed, empty suits that are in Washington, D.C. Can I get a witness? Amen.
Amen, brother.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Continuing on with the platform. Amnesty for undocumented immigrants. Ready? This is going to really tick you off. It's going to tick you off, some of you. The answer is yes, we have to have amnesty. Question of when, question of how, but it has to come. Listen to me. Now, and by the way, and the other thing is, you have to discuss where are these illegal immigrants from, south of the border or from an Islamic country, because I have a different position. All right? I believe in profiling. Don't kid yourself. You do too. So the other part of this equation that has to be discussed is the welfare state. So let me give you my reasoning. The scripture says, be careful how you treat the stranger, the orphan, the widow, because you too were strangers in a strange land. We must show grace and mercy to the alien. That's the phrase in the scriptures, to the stranger. If you don't, God says, I'll judge you. So take heed on that one. Number two, the bottom line is there are millions of illegal immigrants in this country. Millions. We are not going to spend the time or the money to deport them. It's not going to happen. So let's just admit what everyone knows. Let's admit that they're integrated into our society, many of them, that they are a tremendous boom for our economies in certain regions, and say, okay, we've got to grant them amnesty. The question is, how do we do it? Do they do a certain amount of community service? Are they required to learn English? Are they required, some of them, to serve in the military? We'll let you stay, but you're going to learn English and you're going to serve Uncle Sam. I mean, Puerto Ricans were able to get U.S. citizenship for years by serving in the U.S. military. So I'm not saying it's a carte blanche, everyone just come on in. There's got to be a price to pay. But we've got to do it, people. There's no way around it. We're just not going to deport X million Mexicans and El Salvadorians and Guatemalans from our country. We're not going to do it. Many of them have credit cards, mortgages. You want all those houses to be repossessed? I mean, the turmoil that would cause in this country is unthinkable. But it's politically untenable to say these things, and so we're stuck doing nothing. Next, the welfare state. One of the reasons that people are so upset about illegal immigrants is because of the strain that they put on our infrastructure. But if we didn't have the welfare state where these people were a major burden, then the drain would not be happening, all right? Another thing, a lot of them, well, most of them don't pay any federal income tax, okay? Well, if we got rid of the graduated federal income tax and had instead a national federal sales tax, it's called the fair tax, guess what? All the illegal immigrants pay federal tax because you can't buy something without paying the federal tax. So this is a great way to say, look, you're here, we're going to let you stay, you're going to do these things, but we're going to eliminate the welfare state, which will not then put a burden and a drain on us economically, and we're going to have a federal sales tax so that you have to pay into the system. Now, if it comes to Islamic illegal immigrants, there is a far greater chance that they would be involved in a plot for terrorism. Let's just face it, it's true. And I would simply not have the same policy when it comes to Islamic terrorists of a general amnesty. If they hold to Sharia law, then by definition, they are at war with our Constitution. And that is a big problem. So, I'm going to take a break. When we come back, I hope that you liked that one. I hope I gave you some food for thought. We'll talk about the U.S. support of the United Nations. Once again, something close to brilliance is coming up. I just feel it. I'll be right back.
The GOP, girly men on Prozac. We've never seen a fight we didn't run from.
Hi, Joe Costello here, founder of Kailea Health and Energy. I want to share with you a product that has changed hundreds of thousands of lives.
Introducing the Total Living Drinks, Greens and Berry, the ultimate superfood formulas that provide you the 9 daily essential areas of nutrition your body needs. Each scoop provides the life-giving phytonutrients that come from the equivalent of 5 servings of organic vegetables and berries, probiotics for better intestinal function, antioxidants for disease prevention, and vitamins and minerals for establishing maximum health. Order now and get started on the Total Living Drink. When you do, a generous gift will go to Randall Terry's organization to help further his work and further the kingdom. Order online and receive an online discount or call the toll-free number. Call today and enjoy maximum health and energy.
What is the use of living, if it be not to strive for noble causes and to make this muddled world a better place to live after we are gone? Sir Winston Churchill.
Welcome back to the program, friend. Broadcasting from the North Country, sort of a vacation with work, a working vacation, I guess they call that. I apologize for the shaggy look, but content is king here. I'm not trying to impress you with a nice suit. Support for the United Nations. Strongly opposed, strongly favor. I said favor. I strongly favor support for the United Nations. Now listen why. I believe in international law. You know why? The Ten Commandments are international law. They apply to everyone, people. Okay? We believe in a law code that transcends national borders. The Treaty Against Genocide, a very important treaty, which is international law, so that if bums are committing genocide within their borders, we can go in. It gives other nations the authority to go in and topple these people and try them. Okay? Human rights. There's a treaty on human rights, which defines fundamental human rights as the right to freedom of religion, the right to express your beliefs, to practice your religion openly, freedom of speech, freedom of association, who you want to hang out with. This is not in Islamic countries. They do not accede to these treaties. And if nations need to go into another nation by force, well, upon what basis do they do it? There has to be an underpinning of Augustinian ethics. Augustine's theory of just war, which had many facets, one of the elements was that you are going in, going to fight and go into another nation for the punishment of an injustice, or to take back something that was stolen. Okay? Those are some of the reasons that you can justly go into another nation. Hence, I believe in the Crusades. You can't speak Arabic? Thank the Crusades. If it wasn't for the Crusades, God knows that Islam might have swept through Europe and broken the back of all of Christianity, not just Byzantine Christianity. Augustine's theory of just war is based on the premise that there is a God in heaven. He made the rules, and the rules apply to all men in all nations at all times. After World War II, the nation practiced basically what scholars call anarchy, okay? Every nation is a sovereign entity and can do whatever it wants inside of its borders, and no other nation can intervene in that sovereign nation. Well, the Germans did things to the Jews and the Gypsies and to the Christians that were legal inside of Germany. So when we went in, what were we going to do? And the victorious Allies said, we're simply not going to abide by this absurd notion that these tyrants can get away with what they did and not be brought to justice. That these victims, these individuals, have no voice in a court of law. And that was part of what gave birth to the United Nations, that these nations had to have a code of ethics. And by the way, they quoted from the scriptures. Yeah? They went back to the concept that there are fundamental human rights that are given from above. And they said, upon that basis, we are going to try these criminals. And they did. And many of them were hung by their neck until dead. All right? And that was just. And that involves some of the working premises of the United Nations. Now, obviously, I don't like China as far as their governing beliefs and principles. And I think that there are times when the United Nations is absolutely against U.S. interests. And some of their policies have been anti-Christian. But it has served as a starting point for debate and cohesion. Maybe not a good one, but better than nothing. And at the end of the day, if you believe in the Ten Commandments and the Sermon on the Mount, you believe in international law, because those laws apply to all men at all times in every nation. And if we see a crisis going on in Rwanda, and the UN says we're going to go in, we're taking a vote, and we're saying, hey, let's these group of nations go in and rescue these innocent people, that is just, and it's good. So, I support our involvement in the United Nations. I support international law. I'll be right back after this break.
Because he cleaves to me in love, I will deliver him. I will protect him because he knows my name. When he calls to me, I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble and will rescue him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation.
Hi, Joe Costello here, founder of Kailea Health and Energy. I want to share with you a product that has changed hundreds of thousands of lives.
Introducing the Total Living Drinks, Greens and Berry, the ultimate superfood formulas that provide you the 9 daily essential areas of nutrition your body needs. Each scoop provides the life-giving phytonutrients that come from the equivalent of 5 servings of organic vegetables and berries, probiotics for better intestinal function, antioxidants for disease prevention, and vitamins and minerals for establishing maximum health. Order now and get started on the Total Living Drink. When you do, a generous gift will go to Randall Terry's organization to help further his work and further the kingdom. Order online and receive an online discount or call the toll-free number. Call today and enjoy maximum health and energy.
Benjamin Franklin said, "Freedom is not a gift bestowed upon us by other men, but a right that belongs to us by the laws of God and nature." If it's good enough for Benjamin Franklin, who was not even a Christian, to say that our freedom comes from God and from the laws of God, in the public square he's talking about, in politics. If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for us, people. Let's own the fact that we believe that our political theory is just and right, and it emanates from God himself, and we're not going to eliminate him from the public square.